if you do not know about this band called the Velvet Sundown, turns out, to no one's surprise, that they are an AI band. I mean, just look at the photo of them. How could there have been any debate that this was an AI band? They have been around for 2 months and have over 900,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Their Spotify bio is so clearly AI generated, as is everything about this band. And it was very obvious, and people started to be like, hi, is this an AI band? Why are they being pushed to my Spotify feeds? Why am I seeing them everywhere? And they got the Velvet Sundown started responding on Twitter and being like, not AI, but thanks, hope you're enjoying. And it was this psyop. It was this very bizarre thing where Spotify and others who were pushing this band were trying to pretend like they weren't AI. And, whoever created this was trying to pretend as if this was a real band. And that's really weird. That is very strange that they were trying to pretend as if this was anything other than what it is, which is completely unreal, completely AI generated.
Velvet Sundown and said, can you believe this? This is supposedly an AI generated band. So I type it in and I see a bunch of news reports on this. Here's the first one, Mashable. Is the Velvet Sundown an AI generated band? Digital Music News, possible AI artist. Velvet Sundown tops 370,000 Spotify listeners. It's actually way beyond that now. Stereo Gump, AI generated psych.
Yeah, now 900,000, almost 1 million listeners on Spotify.
Rock band, the Velvet Sundown, racks up hundreds of thousands of Spotify streams. Music Alley, the Velvet Sundown are seemingly AI generated band with 325,000 listeners. Well, as of today, they have 473,000 monthly listeners, which is pretty insane for a band that has really no history.
Okay, first let's listen to a little bit of this song. I guess it's their single, Dust on the Wind, not to be confused with Dust in the Wind by Kansas. So here it is from the top.
Dust on the wind.
It feels like 100 different artists at one time. You're like, oh yeah, that sounds like there's some Led Zeppelin in there. Wow, that seems like there's some Eagles in there. Wow, it's so strange because it's neither. Here's what I would say: it's not that it's bad, but it's not that it's good. It's nothing. It's nothing.
On the ground, smoke in the sky, no peace found. Rivers run red.
You know what I mean?
The drums roll slow. Tell me, brother, where do we go?
Now, let me read a little of one of these articles. This is from Mashable. This is by Christiana Silva. Have you heard of the Velvet Sundown? It's kind of like the Velvet Underground, except the Velvet Underground is definitely real.
I think there's this whole conversation to be had about how nobody cares if music is real anymore, and that a lot of people listen to music just for vibes, right? They're not actively listening to music. They're not forming their identity through music like they used to be. The internet has changed things where subcultures like punk, rap, hip hop, these types of music that people used to form their identity around, that a lot of it now is just aesthetics. It's just vibes. Everything just being background now. Yeah, you're just listening to have something fill the void rather than listening to have it means something. The way we consume music now being completely different. Like everything's just in the background.
Real. The jury is still out on the Velvet Sundown. The band's photos look remarkably AI generated, too clean, not quite textured enough, oddly inhuman, yet it's racked up more than, and now at this time, 474,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Their bio reads that they are quiet.
It's like there's the experience of listening to music, and then there's the idea of listening to music. And something like this AI band is, I mean, it's not that this is even so different from other music that is human made, because what it shares in common is that it's just background, right? It's just filling the void. Like there is no feeling to it. Like you just feel nothing. Like it's the idea of listening to music.
Quietly spellbinding, and uses these odd, unspecific metaphors so common in AI-generated text, like comparing the band's music to a scent that suddenly takes you back somewhere you didn't expect.
Jax,
the
thank you for
Velvet
the 29
Sundown
months.
aren't trying to revive the past. Their Spotify bio reads. They're rewriting it. They sound like the memory of a time that never actually happened, but somehow they make it feel real. But in the end, there's no actual proof that the band is AI generated, and therein lies the struggle. When AI music becomes difficult to catch, whose job is it to catch it? It's my job. So let's see if there are...
Okay, since then though, because a lot of people caught on and went, what the fuck? This is so clearly an AI band. Well, now it has officially been confirmed that the Velvet Sundown is in fact AI generated. Oh my God, I'm shocked. But yeah, for a while, like the Velvet Sundown was trying to pretend as if they were not AI generated, and then finally have acknowledged like, oh yeah, no, we are. And you know what? I don't know if people will really care. I don't know. I think, I mean, first of all, Spotify has been pushing the Velvet Sundown to people's like recommended playlists, which seems very shady to me. And it is one of those where like I think AI has gotten to the point that it's unremarkable still, but it's fine. Like this is not something that if you were to listen to this in a playlist of music that had been curated by Spotify that you would necessarily be like, hold on a second, that's AI. Because it'd probably be like other songs that you're listening to that are just very unremarkable and that you're not even like actively listening to. You're not even like really paying attention
tools
to.
that can catch whether these are AI generated. I have an idea here. Let's go over to the computer to check this out. Before we go on, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
So I'm going to begin with playing an old song and breaking it apart into these separate tracks using AI, and we'll listen to hear if there are artifacts. Artifacts are just weird things that sound garbled. With old songs or new songs, it should be able to split it apart.
Coconut Wiggy, Oz, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
Pretty well. And if it's an AI tune, it should have a problem doing that. That's my supposition. So let's see if we're right. I'm going to start with a Led Zeppelin song. So that's my old song. I'm going to use Good Times, Bad Times and see how well it splits out the vocals, the drums, guitars, and so on and so forth. Okay, so here we go. Guitars, drums,
The days of my youth, I was told what it means to be a man.
listen. Notice the reverb sounds complete at the end of it, and the reverb at the end of the vocal lines. Listen.
No matter how I try, I find my way through the same old jam.
You can hear some artifacts in the reverbs, but that's pretty amazing for a song that was recorded on analog tape 55 years ago.
Let's listen to this part here with the drums.
Sick. rid of me. She swore that she would be all.
Okay, so it's splitting out this track really well. Let's move to a contemporary song and see how it does. All right, I'm going to start with the Sabrina Carpenter song, Man Child. Now, don't click off the video because I want to see how it does. Now, here's the vocal. Listen.
You said your phone was broken, just forgot to charge it. Oh, outfit you're wearing, God, I hope it's ironic. Did you
does a great job with it. Really cleanly splits the tracks out. Next, let's move on to the Velvet Sundown to see if we can tell if it's AI generated. Now, if it is, what I suspect is that it will be difficult for it to separate the tracks. And
So this guy obviously, what's his name? Rick Beato. I think he's a music YouTuber. This was a video he made 5 days ago to basically be like, okay, so there's this band that everyone's talking about. It seems to be AI, but they're denying that it's AI. So let's examine the music and see if, in fact, we can determine.
You hear a ton of artifacts in the different parts. Let's actually take the verse part here and listen to that. Let's listen to the vocals, see what it sounds like.
Dust on the wind,
Rick Beato.
boots on the ground, smoke in the sky, no peace found. Rivers run red, the drums roll slow. Tell me, brother.
Not bad. Let's listen to the guitars here.
Oh, so the lyrics?
That's bad. Okay. Let's listen to the drums.
This is like what I was doing in GarageBand.
Raise your
Let's see what else we get here. That's it. So this sounds like the AI program that I'm using is having a lot of trouble splitting these apart. I'm actually using the one that's in Logic Pro. So this is Apple's version of AI that is a track splitter. And it does a really good job typically of doing it. But this is having a lot of problems. And I suspect
AI
that it may
versus
be
AI.
because this is an AI track. And every time that you have an AI song, they are full of artifacts. And why is that? Well, one of the reasons is that it's trained on MP3s. As far as I know, it's trained on very low quality MP3s where they feed in the entire mix. So it can't actually separate out the parts. So the real important data that these AI companies need, like Suno or Udio or Udio, however you say it, is they need multi-tracks so they can hear the voices and things like that. But one of the problems is that even if you have the multi-track, you don't have the effects that were used in the mix unless they were printed in the session, which is possible. But for old songs, that's not the case. But you can hear how this is really struggling to separate out the guitar parts and the keyboard parts and things like that. You hear some vocal parts that have a little weird artifacts in them, but the guitars and keyboards it's doing a really bad job.
Why would anyone go this far with an AI ban? I guess to see if they can get away with it. I think it's an experiment for many reasons. One, to see how many people will just go along with an AI band because they either don't notice or don't care. It's a way to it's a way to test and be like, hey, can we make money if we create a totally fake band with AI generated everything, images, website, music? Because if we can, then that's a business. That's a way to make money.
So what does it mean if these are fully AI
This is from a
generated
year ago, but Drew Gooden talked about AI and music on Spotify. We can look it up
artists
there.
and they are getting
Thank you.
streams on Spotify? Well, presumably they're getting paid.
Yeah.
And they're getting paid really on the work of other people that learn
Yeah,
to play.
and that's why I'm like, it seems super shady that Spotify was pushing Velvet Sundown to its users. There were a lot of people who reported, like, why is this in my suggested music? Like, why? Like, people who were exposed to this random band that seemed to come out of nowhere and were like, why?
Instruments, that learn to write songs, learn to write lyrics. They're getting paid off the work of producers that learn the craft of production by audio mixers, by audio engineers, and all the people that it took historically to make this kind of music or make any kind of music. And should they really be getting paid for that? And what are the mechanisms for detecting it and for fighting against it, honestly? Or maybe it shouldn't be fought against. Maybe these people are prompters and they're professional prompters and they should get paid whatever they get paid. But should it be 100%? I don't know. Are they getting paid? What are they getting paid? These are all questions that are important to ask. I'd love to know your thoughts. Leave a comment.
Yeah, also Spotify now accepts payments to boost playlist placement. So it used to be that playlists were driven by human selections, right? But they're moving away from human selected playlists towards algorithms that can pick songs for recommendations based on characteristics of their audio. So, yeah, it's a business model of pay to win. And it's just, it's wild that there was ever like any question about this being an AI band. But I really think the real question is not, is this an AI band? But does anybody care? Does anybody care? Like, do people care if music is real anymore, or if it's just something to put on in the background? You know, it's like it's nothing. It's not good. It's not bad. It doesn't stand out aesthetically. There's nothing about the lyrics that like mean anything, you know. They're so basic, and they're lyrics that could be applied to anything. Like there's no strong voice that's coming through lyrically.